Our next guest says payments to settle sexual harassment claims against members of Congress or staff should be made public, and the offenders should have to reimburse the Treasury for every dime. Joining me now, Congressman Ron DeSantis of Florida. He's a member of several key committees, including Foreign Affairs, Judiciary, and Oversight. He's a member as well of the Freedom Caucus. Congressman, it's great to have you with us. And I have to say, first of all, my compliments and my thanks for you having the guts to stand up and say what so few of your colleagues have said to this point, that it's an outrage that taxpayer dollars are being spent in this way, that Congress and the Senate have a secret slush fund? Your thoughts?
Well, one, taxpayers have a right to know how all their money is being spent. So we need to make all of this public. They need to see the claims. They need to see the identities of those who were responsible for the misconduct, and they need that information. Two, we should not have any taxpayer dollars going to bail out misconduct by members of Congress or members of congressional staff. It's a completely inappropriate use of taxpayer money. Those individuals should be personally liable for their own misconduct. And I think we've got to go back and look at some of these claims and then have those members who had the claims settled with taxpayer dollars, let's put them on the hook and make them reimburse the Treasury, because this really is an outrage when that's happening. And I also think what we have to do, Lou, you have the slush fund, which we have to defund. I think that's important. But what Conyers did, and I think you need effectively a Conyers rule, is he used his office budget, which is a separate pot of money, but he disguised the payment. So it didn't say payment for a sexual harassment claim. He paid this lady over 3 months. It looked like she was a normal employee. So he camouflaged those payments. I think that's wrong as well. So I think we need to make it all public. We need to bar taxpayer funds, but we do also need to implement a Conyers rule.
And we also should share with everyone the Ethics Committee is taking up the case of Congressman Conyers, and an investigation will begin forthwith. There is so much here to investigate. First of all, the idea that that such a slush fund was ever created. This was in the Clinton era. It is Clinton-esque, I must say. But do you know why it was created? I mean, what was the point of this?
So there actually, part of the law, there were some good things in the law. Congress had actually been exempt from a lot of federal laws, civil rights laws, age discrimination laws, disability laws. And so the intent was, the reason why they said accountability was, let's make Congress live under some of those laws. I support that. I know you support that. That's a good idea. But it just shows you how the swamp works. So even when they're going in the right direction in some areas, they then are sneaking things like that in the back door. And so that obviously was something that is Washington at its worst.
Oh, absolutely. Let's turn to UraniumOne. We are waiting for the informant, the FBI informant, who was an undercover asset for the FBI, an informant, a whistleblower, if you will, in some respects. We have been told that the gag order against him, the non-disclosure agreement, had been lifted by the Justice Department at the president's order. And yet now we hear the Justice Department is going to talk to you all about the informant and tell you what he's going to say as part of the process of actually getting him in front of the United States Congress. Tell me that's not what's going on.
We're going to investigate on our own in these committees, Lou. If the Justice Department wants to provide us information, that's fine, but we're doing our own investigation. He not only has testimony to offer, which is going to be very important, he's got a treasure trove of documents, he has recordings, and we've been given every indication that this is going to evince a pattern of corruption underlying this UraniumOne deal. And the Justice Department has not exactly handled this very well throughout the years. You had a year and a half worth of evidence where there were felonies being committed prior to the approval of the UraniumOne deal by the Obama administration, and yet no indictments were brought. We don't have any record that that Congress was notified or any of these other board members. So what was the FBI doing during those years? What was Holder's Justice Department doing during those years? This is not going to look good for them based on the information we've received thus far.
How soon do you believe the informant will be in front of Congress?
Well, I think he will be soon in terms of providing the documents, and then he's going to answer questions kind of in a private setting, because I think we're going to have to subpoena more people after that. When he testifies publicly, I'm not sure, but I do think he's going to give us a big private briefing first so that we get all the facts and that we can structure our investigation accordingly. And I think that that's going to happen after Thanksgiving. And
let me ask this last, we're over time, but I do want to get your thoughts on this. The special counsel, Robert Mueller, his investigation, Ty Cobb, one of the president's attorneys, saying he gets the sense that this is going to be a special counsel investigation that's going to end soon. We're seeing every other kind of contraindicator, a widening investigation, including within the Justice Department itself. Your thoughts about when is this nonsense, this witch hunt going to end?
It all goes back to the appointing order that Rod Rosenstein did. He did not even identify a crime to investigate in the original appointing order. Basically said, hey, look at the campaign in Russia. This gives people like Mueller the license to just try to find something. And that's not the way investigations should be conducted. Look, we've been doing this for a year and a half because Comey investigated this for a year. There's still no evidence of any Trump-Russia collusion. I think it's time that they put up or shut up. If there's no evidence, we've got to move on with the American people's business.
Why would not the Speaker of the House, the Senate Majority Leader, combine with the President of the United States and the heads of the committees of Senate Intelligence, House Intelligence, the two Judiciary Committees, and say, enough. This has gone on far too long.
That may be happening, Lou. I've been making that argument, and in the House Intel Committee, they ramped up over the last couple months. I think that they're pretty much done. I would anticipate something happening by the end of the year. I don't know exactly what they're going to report. I'm not on that committee, but every indication I've heard is the evidence is going to show no collusion.